Shabbat shalom, everybody. This is Rabbi Stephen, Rob Shmuel, with you with this week's 10-minute Torah. I'm wearing glasses now, just about all the time. Um, but I noticed that when I wear them, when I do this, you're seeing a glare off the screen, and I don't know that I really need to look at anything while I'm doing this, so I'll go ahead and take them off so that's not a distraction. Okay, so first of all, thank you everybody for watching these videos. Those of you who enjoy them, I hope you do enjoy them. I certainly love making them. I just love studying Torah. I love studying Talmud. I love looking at the prayers and that we do every day and what they mean, what they refer to. Now I'm starting to read the Zohar, which is Kabbalah. It's just for me, it's just also fascinating. I've had people ask me about, quote unquote mysticism. And, part of my comment, my take on it is that, religion really kind of is mystical because can you see, feel, hear, or touch Hashem? Can you feel God? No, God is not a physical being, especially in Judaism. And if you get into Kabbalah, God is Ein Sof, without end. And God is beyond the reaches of physical, even spiritual. God is outside really of reality. How is it then that God can create the universe? God creates space, God creates time. How can a being with a capital B do that if they are embedded in the physical universe? Now, having said that, here we go with Beshalach, okay, and it means when he let go, okay, Beshalach. So Pharaoh let go. Pharaoh is letting the Israelites go. Now, having said what I just said, you read the Torah, and especially these middle three books, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers, Shemot, Vayikra, and Bamidbar. And what do we see? We see Moses and Aaron having conversations with Hashem the way I'm talking to you now, and you talk to me. So how is it that God, who is not a physical being, beyond even spirituality, can have those conversations? Well, that's the idea. God is that much of a presence in our lives, in our universe, okay? So that God is involved with us even on a physical level. What do we say in our morning bracha? We say, God who has set me on life's path, who sustains the universe, right? So God is still sustaining the universe from his place. Bim komo, from his place, her place if you prefer. Where is God's place? Wherever that may be. The fact that God could be such an immaterial, but still a presence, tells you about who and what God is, what Hashem is. So here in this chapter, it is a pivotal moment in the annals of Judaism. This is when God has wrought the plagues on Pharaoh, who is now basically so defeated, it's almost like he has no choice to let him go. We're just leaving, and that's it. And what can Pharaoh do? Well, plenty as it turns out, because once the Israelites leave, once our ancestors left Egypt, Pharaoh had a change of heart. This is not necessarily something that would be unexpected because God has hardened Pharaoh's heart. Why did God harden Pharaoh's heart? Because Pharaoh himself hardened his own heart. So God said, well, I've given you 5 chances, the first 5 plagues. You hardened your own heart. If this is what you want, this is what I'm going to give you. God is going to give Pharaoh what he wanted. He wanted to be stubborn and, forgive the expression, pig-headed, and not relent and not say, it's really kind of against the rules of humanity, against the laws of God and man that, one particular group of people, I hate the word I hate the word race because we're one race, we're a human race, but it's such an offense against the human race that one group of people should enslave and imprison another people to do their bidding. So God is basically making an example of the Egyptians, saying, you fancy yourself as gods. I'm going to show you that our power is greater than you. So, with all the plagues, Pharaoh is just so defeated. Israel leaves. Pharaoh then, with that hardened heart, decides this is absurd. I just let my free labor, my people leave. And let's just take it for granted, I think, that Pharaoh felt humiliated. Remember, at this time in ancient history, Egypt was the most powerful place, the most powerful, the greatest power on earth, the greatest nation, the most powerful nation. Pharaoh couldn't let himself be defeated by what he saw was this upstart God, this upstart religion, these slaves making him look bad. Takes his special forces, his chariots, and goes after him. Well, what does Israel do? The Israelites look around, they see him coming, and they freak out. These are people that have been enslaved for the last 100 or so years. They have no concept of esteem, no concept of self respect. They're fearful. So they cry out to Moses. Moses, in turn, goes to God and says, what do we do? God says, don't worry. Pillar of cloud, pillar of fire, halts the Egyptians in their track. And God says to Moses, raise your staff and split the waters. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. A gentleman by the name of Nachshon ben Aminadab, who would become the prince of Judah, and as tradition and Midrash has it, was actually married to Miriam, walks into the sea. He had that faith. He alone had that faith from the tribe of Judah, walked into the sea. When the water got up to his neck, then the sea split and the ground hardened. Very important because you've got people with wagons and horses crossing. We've all been to the beach, we've all been out in the water, and it's kind of muddy there. How's a wagon supposed to get through that? So the wind blew the sea apart and it hardened the floor of the sea so that the people could cross through in safety. They do that. Egypt's watching this, Pharaoh's watching this. He's absolutely incensed. Once the people start going, the pillars leave, he says, in after them. Now, the Egyptian soldiers were still a little war weary from the plagues, but they went. They listened to their God king, and they went. And what happened? There was a cascading folding in of the waters that drowned the Egyptians up to the point where the Israelites crossed through in safety and the Egyptians were drowned. Some of the bodies appeared on the other side of the shore, so the Israelites would see, okay, God went ahead and did what God told us he'd do or she'd do. What happens then? And this is basically where our triennial cycle ends, right here. And then, of course, Miriam and the woman, they had these tambourines, these timbrels. They got up and they sang a song and they rejoiced, and we have the famous Song of the Sea. The Song of the Sea is part of our daily prayer service. And when I say daily, I mean every day. Weekday, Shabbat, festivals. It's part of Pesukei Dezimra, the second part of our morning prayer, of our Shachrit, our morning prayer, our dawn prayer service. Why is that? Because no sooner do the people cross the sea, but now they're complaining. Now it starts. Where's water? What are we going to drink? And God's like, see that tree over there, that bitter tree? Throw it in these bitter waters, and they'll have sweet spring water. They do that. Okay, great. Now they've had something to drink. Now, where's our food? And God's like, okay, I'm going to give them manna, which is your carbs, and then all these quails are going to come, and there's your meat, there's your protein. Why do we have the Song of the Sea in our daily prayer service? Because we as Jews I hate to use the word, but let's just say it's good to remind ourselves that our religion is based on a miracle, that God's looking after us. Okay, that was 3,500 years ago. What have you done for us today? What has God done for us today? Well, lots of stuff. Okay. Jews are such a small minority in the world, and yet we're one of the most successful peoples of the world. We started Hollywood, right? Many of us are overrepresented in the professions, medicine, law. Look at financial, right? Lehman Brothers, Salomon Brothers, Rothschilds. We were lead, of course, not now. Now that management has taken over, it's not Jewish anymore. But these were Jews that started this. Look at Israel. Look how Israel, a country. They told us when we were kids, Israel is called the state because it's like the size of New Jersey. Look what they've done. Leaders in medicine, leaders in technology, been able to ward off all the enemies that surround them. There's your miracles, folks. The fact that we survived, the fact that after our numbers were decimated after the Holocaust, you know, we went from 15 million down to maybe 8 or 9. And now, 70 years later, we're back up to 15 million. That's all we are. There's your miracle. Think about it. Think about how anti Semitism is so rampant, and yet here we are surviving and thriving. People are approaching us every day. They want to be Jewish, they want to see what this Judaism thing's all about. There's your miracles. Take that with you. Think about that. Think about that. And be grateful to Hashem that we have survived and that we are thriving. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great week.